constamment le sentiment d'inventer quelque chose.
90% of what we look at is the male gaze. This video will explore the themes of womanhood and queer identity across 3 of Céline Sciamma's films: Tomboy, Water Lilies, and Portrait of a Lady on Fire. Firstly, let's examine how these themes are portrayed through childhood and identity in Tomboy. According to Kronz in her 2015 essay on gender nonconformity, the complexity of gender is often lost in films. Instead, Tomboy foregrounds it. 10-year-old Law prefers to go by the male name, Mikhail. He first introduces himself like this upon meeting Lisa, who becomes a focal love interest within the film.
Michael, je m'appelle Michael.
Lisa quickly takes a liking to Mikhail, and he soon assimilates with the other boys in the neighbourhood, despite his initial timidity. In her essay on the works of Sciamma, Wilson states that playing the boy, being a tomboy, are part of a child's refusal of straight female identity and the assumed heterosexuality of girl children. Sciamma doesn't feel the need to explain why Mikhail identifies as Mikhail. Rather, she allows the film to play as a coming of age. Mikhail is therefore able to explore new friendships, feelings of attraction, and self-expression, just as any other child would. Sciamma uses the vastness of landscapes to communicate this sense of experimentation and childhood freedom. Though unsurprisingly, Mikhail eventually has to face objection. His mother publicly shames him. He's forced to confess his identity as Law to his friends and to Lisa. Yet throughout the entire film, Mikhail's younger sister, Jean, remains by his side. She not only refrains from telling her parents about Mikhail, but demonstrates her unwavering adoration for her older sibling.
T'as une sœur ou un frère? Une grande sœur. Ah, moi j'ai un grand frère et je trouve que c'est nul.
Wilson claims that Tomboy is as much of a portrait of Jean as it is a portrait of Mikhail, and this interest in the little sister and serious attention to the small girl, her depth of feeling and her social sophistication are original in the film. Therefore, Tomboy offers a complex depiction of both queer identity in childhood through Mikhail and expresses a positive ideology on female figures such as Jean. However, as childhood shifts into adolescence, this sense of fluidity is disrupted by unrealistic expectations and insecurities. Water Lilies delves into the world of teenage desire and the pressure to perform. Synchronized swimming is used as a metaphor. It's a choreographed performance of femininity. Florine is expected to act and behave as a sexualized woman.
C'est ce qu'on raconte, c'est tout. Que tu l'as déjà fait. Et avec plein de mecs. Ouais, c'est vrai. J'adore ça.
But in reality, this isn't what she wants. According to sociologist Judith Butler, the effect of gender is produced through the stylization of the body. This contrasts with the freedom of childhood in Tomboy, and shines light on the immense pressure for young girls to adhere to an idealised standard. Marie is in love with Florine. It hurts. She is seized in a cycle of observation and desire. Sciamma prioritises the act of looking over verbal expression, reflecting the uncertainty and apprehension of queer adolescence. This is reinforced through the film's visual style, characterised by lingering close-ups and subtle observational framing. In Laura Mulvey's essay on visual pleasures and narrative cinema, she states that women are simultaneously looked at and displayed. However, the ways in which Marie observes Florine are not perverted or sexualised. No scene is explicitly sexual. Sciamma favours moments that might be classed as typically mundane to convey Marie's attraction towards Florine. Simply spending time in Florine's presence allows Marie's feelings and desire to gradually take shape. In Water Lilies, desire is not yet spoken. It lingers in stolen glances, tinged with uncertainty. Sciamma's international breakthrough film, Portrait of a Lady on Fire, explores love within constraint between 2 adult women. It's a devastating portrayal of a painter and an aristocrat who fall in love at a time when same-sex relationships are ostracised. Despite this, the women are sure within themselves. They don't question their own sexuality. Desire is mutual and acknowledged. In an interview for The Independent, Sciamma says, "I decided to look at this love and all its possibility, rather than doing the impossible love story narrative. Every quiet moment that would often go unnoticed is pushed to the foreground in this film. The crackle of a fire, waves against the shore, footsteps on wooden floorboards." In the absence of music and dialogue, Sciamma crafts an intimate relationship between her protagonists, which heightens emotional intensity through presence rather than words. This in turn reinforces her rejection of the traditional male gaze, which often favours voyeurism and sexual objectification. It instead aligns with theorist Bell Hooks' ideas on the oppositional gaze, that the act of looking can function as a form of resistance. In her article on lesbian cinema, Jackie Stacey explores how the character of Eloise can be visually compared to Madeline from Hitchcock's Vertigo. To take such a classic trope of patriarchal desire as the ground for homoerotic intimacy is to make the reproducibility of sameness signify differently, and it is this appropriation of such classical terrain that perhaps thrilled contemporary lesbian and queer audiences. In Portrait of a Lady on Fire, the act of looking is finally returned. Across the three films discussed, Sciamma moves from fluid identity to social performance, and ultimately to reciprocal queer longing. In doing so, she challenges the male gaze, transforming it from an instrument of control into a space of recognition, and in that recognition, both female identity and queer desire are reclaimed.